tomatoes and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. So my oven's on at 180 degrees, fan assisted, or 200 degrees. And now the first thing we need to do is make the mixture that's going to sit at the bottom of our pastry. So I've got some cream cheese and some Dijon mustard here, and I need 60 grams of the soft cheese. So I've put my bowl onto the weighing scales like we did in the weighing video, and I'm going to scoop out some cream cheese, and I need 60 grams. Nearly enough. There we go, 60 grams. And then I need 1 teaspoon of the Dijon mustard. So I'm going to get my measuring spoon here, get the right one. Teaspoon. And I need a level teaspoon like that, and I'm going to pop that in. So I've mixed that all together, and I'm going to pop that to one side. And now I'm going to use my pastry. So I've got some puff pastry sheets here, and they have been defrosting for about 10 minutes, so they're not really hard. And I need a board, so I'm going to get a piece of kitchen towel, and I'm going to put my board on the top so it doesn't move around. I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can make this tart. So I'm going to take one of the sheets off like this, and I'm going to make a mark with my knife. So I'm holding my knife nice and steady, and I'm going to cut a little mark. I'm not going to go all the way through the pastry, round the edge. So I'm making a little border for my pastry. So probably 1.5 centimetres wide. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you can do it any way you like. And then I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 5 minutes just to slightly cook it. And what will happen is the top will slightly puff up. So I'm going to put my pastry on my baking tray, and I'm just going to very lightly poke a fork over the middle part, just so that part doesn't puff up as much as the outside pieces. And I'm going to pop it in the oven for just 5 minutes. So if you didn't want to do a large tart, you can cut your pastry into 4. So I'm using a rocking motion here to cut my pastry roughly into 4 pieces. And then I'm going to score again round the outside with all 4. So I've popped these in as well, and I've done exactly the same and put a little square around the outside, and I've pricked them all with a fork, and I'm going to pop these in the oven again for 5 minutes too. So I've taken my pastry out of the oven. It's been in there for 5 minutes, and now I'm going to spread a little bit of the cream cheese in the middle part. So just in the square where the pastry hasn't puffed up as much. And that's going to be part of our tart mixture that we're going to put our tomatoes on. So you cover like so. So next is cutting the tomatoes. So I've got a piece of wet paper down here, I've got my board on there, and I've got my knife. So I'm going to cut my tomato. So I'm going to hold it with a claw grip, and I'm going to hold my tomato, keeping my eyes on the tomato all the time, and my eyes on the knife. I'm going to very slowly saw the tomato. All the way through, moving my fingers back a little bit. As far as I can go. you get to the very edge and don't feel confident to cut that bit, just leave that. So I'm going to put my knife down now and then arrange my tomatoes on my tart. Okay, so now I'm going to put my tomatoes on my tart and put them on any way you like. Don't overlay them too much, otherwise they won't cook. Just like that. Then I'm going to give them a little bit of salt and pepper over the top, and then I'm going to sprinkle some Parmesan over the top too. I'm going to grate some Parmesan over the top. So now I'm just going to put some Parmesan cheese over the top. And then they'll go back in the oven for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, or until the outside are completely puffed up and the tomato looks cooked. So we'll pop those in the oven and we'll have a look after 20 minutes. So another way that you can chop a tomato is if you cut just the very tip off, or the round bit, and that's a really good area that you can rest on. So you can cut off your top, move that to one side. Notice that I've got my claw grip, and then I can cut my slices. And that way it's not going to roll around because it's a round object, it hasn't got a flat side. And then I can cut really nice slices without it worrying that it's going to move around. So that's both the tarts done. So that's a large tart and 4 smaller ones. I'm just going to pop a little bit more Parmesan on the top of these ones that have just come out, and which will melt. They look pretty lovely. They'd be nice for lunch with a salad maybe, or you can maybe have it in your lunch box when we eventually get back to school. But they look pretty good, so we'll let them cool down for a moment and then we'll try one.